Hello there and welcome to Kaleki's Health Moments. Children around the world have immense access to the internet thanks to mobile devices at their hands. Our guest today talks about the need for these children to be street smart so that they can make safe choices while they are online.
At Evelyn Communication Solutions, what Evelyn does is to help children from the age of 3 all the way to 17 to be digital citizens and how to harness technology because they live in the middle of the fourth industrial revolution. I started it when I became a mother, passionately when my son Ryan was able to understand how to use his iPad, and he loved the red play button, which was for YouTube. And in the midst of him watching his favorite Tom and Jerry, there are pop-ups that would come up, and I was very scared upon his him being very creative, how he would start getting into watching things that are very unhealthy. And because I have a background in computer science, I thought it would be best for me to start securing what he's accessing in terms of content online. So I was inspired mostly because every parent I was talking to was really scared about what are my children watching? Are they accessing pornography? When they're on my phone, what are they seeing? When they're in school, are the computers safe? Do they have firewalls? Do they have antiviruses? By and large, parents feeling very helpless to the fact that they don't have control with what their children are watching, and they don't have control over the ecosystem of the person who is accessing their child. So basically what I do is I will help the parents understand their role within the ecosystem of the child, and then I take the children through a 10-week program where we help them with different kind of activities. And what I do with the parents basically is helping them understand the ecosystem of the child, which they are the forefront of it because they're the primary influencers to the child. Understanding when they're taking their children to like education centers, how is the education center playing a role when it comes to technology and access to the child. Then when the children are going to the virtual community, because that is the third influence, are the parents able to know that if my child is on Instagram or Snapchat or all these other social media platforms, do they actually know what kind of influence in terms of intercultural, social networks, what are the children accessing? So if you miss the part of embedding values in your child, when they get to the point where they're going to school, they will interact with very many people. The good thing about school is that you're interacting physically, but when they go online, they're not in one platform. They're interacting with people from across the globe, which means they will have different views in terms of religion, culture, sex, gender, and it can become very confusing for children when they don't have a grounding. So for me, I made sure that my curriculum is holistic in the sense that the child gets to understand who they are offline and online, and then how they can start curating the kind of content that they are consuming as they grow. Whereas parents normally feel stressed because they feel the pressure to give their children gadgets. I help both children and parents create healthy screen time, which means from a certain age, children need to start understanding that they have limited screen time and it has to be productive screen time. There is no problem with children entertaining themselves, but there has to be a balance. Whereas we're seeing very many children even going to rehabilitation at the age of 2, which is very sad. We need to start having conversations with our children about how much time they spend online, especially when they're playing games, when they're on social media. So what we do is to help parents come up with family media rules, which means they start creating rules on how to use technology at home and outside home. I'll give you an example of saying when we are having meals, there's no technology, no going to the toilets with the phones, because that is something else that becomes another problem altogether. Having children not going with portable devices to the bedrooms because then they don't get to sleep on time. Along my interaction with parents, I've been told a lot of fortunate and some unfortunate situations. A friend of mine who had a preteen borrowed the mother's phone to play a game, and then she went with it to bed. And then when the mother was going to get the phone from her, she found the daughter asleep, but the phone was playing pornography. So she took it, got it off mobile data, and panicked because she didn't know what to do. And then just put her phone in her bag. The following day she went to work. She didn't know what to tell her child in the morning, but the following day she went to work. And then the minute she got into the office and got into Wi-Fi, the pornography continued playing because she had not switched it off. And people were just looking at her very weird in the office because, it was pornography playing. And she was very confused because she didn't understand how the daughter, who was just 12, was watching hardcore pornography. And upon investigating, she realized that the nanny, who is the house manager, used to watch a lot of pornography. That was her entertainment. But because we mothers normally want things to be done in a certain way by the time we're coming home, the daughter would come from school and she'd automatically be given the phone. So she got acquainted to watching that kind of content, which was very unfortunate. Those are the kind of things that make parents come and enroll into our program, because the children are seeking for help on online platforms from peers who are not able to really give them long-lasting solutions. Yeah. So when the kids come to my program, the first thing we do is start discussing about digital identity. What are the behaviors that are important to them when they go online, and how are they behaving offline? I keep telling them that those behaviors need to be really aligned, because even most of us don't post, photos that are not the best on Instagram and Snapchat and all. We are always faking their life on social media, and for our children it's a thin line, because they will copy what we are doing. So I make sure to tell them that they need to have the same life they have offline and online, so that they are living genuine lives. And one of the things that we will discuss is digital footprint, what they are posting online, how is it affecting their reputation, because right now very many employers are not even looking at CVs anymore. They're looking at digital footprints. That is something that they will have to cope with in the future. So whatever it is they're posting when they are young, it will come and play a part, a very big part, when they grow up. And so when we're discussing about things like screen time, I have developed this basket that is, I call it a digital basket. What it does for me as a person in my family is I put it somewhere central near my door where I put my keys. And so when I come home, I will quickly check my WhatsApp, my emails, and then I put my phone there on silent. I interact with my children until they go to sleep. Then I can pick up my gadgets. What that does for me is that it enables me to interact with my children without the interruption of technology. I also make my visitors do that, by the way, because it's very unfortunate when someone is coming to visit me and they're always on their phone. There's no point of having physical interactions when people are on their phones all the time. So it works for me very well. The good thing is also we have created family media rules where we are not walking around literally everywhere in the house with devices, which means we are not shouting at each other, because somebody might be on their phone and you want to ask them for something and everybody's shouting at each other, or everybody's glued into their screen and nobody's listening to the other person. So that for me really helps. What I've also come to realize within my interaction with the children is that parents need to be able to start having very cautious decisions when they're handing gadgets to their children. And when you feel that your children are of age to have a gadget, I provide them with a contract. This is how it looks like. It's a mobile phone contract, and I'll just briefly say what it means. That the children need to acknowledge that the phone is a privilege and not a right, so they will not take it for granted. One of the other things that I make sure is the parents to put in time. I will not use my cell phone before you put in the time, whatever time in the morning and after time in school. When they're on the school season, you need to be able to ensure that the children are not always on their phones. When it is a holiday season, also make sure the children are not always on their phones. So you need to define the timing. Children also need to be very cautious about what they are posting. So there's part of it that said I will not post or send videos or pictures to anyone who's not my parent or without my parents' consent. The thing is, when we don't define some of these rules, even children don't know when they are violating other people's privacy. So they will post anything because they think it's funny, but then they can be sued because they're posting other people's private lives. Then, of course, creating tech-free zones. Every family needs to know when to create a tech-free zone, and the family media rules. And then also there's the parental expectations that I will respect my child's privacy when he or she is texting on the phone. I think parents need to start looking at it very carefully, because the minute you give your child a gadget, especially a phone, they're obviously communicating to someone. So are you respecting the fact that they're talking to other people? And then if you are the one who is funding for the internet or the credit, you will be paying the standard fee for the phone. So you need to also define that so that the children also get to respect the fact that they know that there's a responsibility behind them having a phone. Then when you have the consequences, they need to sign and consent, both of them. So the child gets to read their responsibility and the parent's expectation, and they sign. So that is one of the things also that we have to talk to the children about. Parents also need to be engaging their children on screen time. It can work in two ways. When the kids are in school, for me personally, we don't have screens until Friday. And on Friday, we create a movie night where my children and the parents, we sit down and watch a family movie. We create a game night where there's no technology, so the basket comes in handy when we put our phones there, and we have a game night where these are the kind of things that we use to game. I just brought a few. We have cards, so I teach my children how to play cards the way we used to play cards long ago. I used to play a lot of this when I was a baby. Have chess, and this chess is really good because it has checkers, it has the chess. If you don't know how to play chess, this is a good opportunity to use your online platforms to learn how to play chess. For those people with young children, we can have such kind of games, right, where they mix and match. You can put them out so that you see if your children have cognitive, they're growing cognitively in school to do this. This is a very, very, very physical game. It's called Twisters. This is where you get to know whether you're working in the gym or not. It's a very good way to work out. And the thing I've realized over the time when I'm playing these things with my children is that we get to talk about normal day-to-day things. I don't normally ask them how was your day. I would ask them what made them smile, what made them annoyed, whom they sat with over lunch hour. And as we are doing all these things, we get to have deep conversations. Because for me, parenting should be very intentional. Instead of hanging out with your children, you should be connecting with your children. This is one way that you can connect with your children. So through our program, which is called Wiz Kids Africa, what we entail to do is after the children learn the different things in terms of how to use technology, how to be safe online, we engage them on how to become digital co-creators, because then they need to start learning what else can they do with technology. And one of the things that I advocate for them is to learn how to code, because for them it is going to be a necessity. When they grow up, they will literally have to know how to code. It is a skill they require. And so what we tell them when they're becoming digital co-creators, can they create games that disadvantaged or special needs children can have fun with? Very easy, free tools. One is education.com, which is very good when you want to start teaching kids from as early as 2 years old how to put in grammatical sentences, how to use pronouns and verbs. There's Khan Academy, which is awesome when it comes to mathematics and also grammar, sciences for different ages. It has a kindergarten section, a primary section, even an entrepreneurship for adults. We have k5learning.com, k5learning.com, which is very awesome as well for different learning tools. And for those who are developing readers, you can try Oxford Owl. It's an ebook that has a variety of books that parents can read. Now, when you're coming to learn how, a few tips when you're giving your children phones is for those people who are using Apple phones, the screen time app is installed inside the phone. But for those of us who are using Android phones, you can try and use screen time parental control, which will help you manage how you're using your screen time and what sites you're visiting. So if you need to detox from a particular site, for instance, if it's a social media site that you're indulging a lot, it will give you the actual time that you're on the site. There's another one, screen time for kids as well. We need to be able to get into the children's phone and get to see what they're using. We need to have filters which can act as firewalls and antiviruses. Personally, I use Bitdefender. It is an amazing, amazing firewall that helps me manage what my children are watching, and I get to shield them from what I do not want them to watch. So it gives me an upper hand. And when they get, for instance, pornographic content, they're not able to open that pornographic content, but I'll get to know that something was sent to them, so it will give me an opportunity to have a conversation with them. Please try at home as much as possible to screen the movies that you're watching. You can have a tool that is very free. commonsensemedia.org is a tool that I use when I want to pre-screen the kind of movies we are watching. And if you have children you are willing to start reading content of their own, let them start understanding simple signs like age restrictions. So let them understand what 7+ means, 3+ means, 16 or 18+ or adult only. They need to be able to understand what those signs mean. So when they see a movie and it is 7+ and they're below the age of 7, they automatically know that is not a movie that is suitable for their age. Use commonsensemedia.org, to make sure that you understand what kind of content that you're exposing your children to. That is not only for movies, it's for music, books, games, applications, the whole spectrum of online content.
What these children have been taught today, I did not get when I was coming of age in technology. They've been taught how to unlock their internet potential while not necessarily unlocking its dangers. It's been another episode of Kaleke's Health Moments. Please subscribe to this channel or like the video and leave your comments below so that we can interact with you, and visit our website kalekehealth.com.